What's good? My man of society, it is your host with the most, Shadowlock, back at you with another video. Make sure you guys like, comment, and are subscribed to the channel. It's absolutely free. That is how you help my channel get into the algorithm. Highly appreciate if you go ahead and do that. Now, what I wanted to discuss was something that, well, through the years, I've been getting told this, right? But recently had a conversation with an individual. Um, so I decided to do a video on the topic, right? The ignorance, because the ignorance exists on both sides when it comes to overall. Is rap only for black people, or could black people only do rap? And if you try to do rap, or if you rap, does that mean that you want to be black? You know, it's one of the things that I hear from both sides, meaning from the raza and from the brothers, right? An individual told me, that he, heard my raps or whatever, and he said that he thought I was Mexican and, proud of that, right? But it seems to him that I want to be black. And I had, left a comment saying, because his profile picture was a soccer player, right? And so I told the individual if he, if he's Raza, and he said yes and whatever. And I told him if he likes soccer, and he says yes, he plays soccer, whatever. And then I told him, okay, I leave it at that. And I guess he didn't understand what I meant by that. What I meant by that is that, you know, being that he plays soccer and he loves soccer, uh, the fact that he plays soccer, does that mean that he wants to be white? Does that mean that he wants to be, Anglo-Saxon, Caucasian? You know what I mean? Because soccer, is a sport that comes from England, since the 19th century. The modern day version of soccer is, their sport. They created the sport, you know? And I don't want to hear this talk about the Aztecs and everything, because that's not the same sport, right? Similar in some things, but it's a whole completely different sport. What we're talking about is what they like to watch, what they play, which is the modern day version, which is the one that's comes from England, right? Created by white people. So does that mean you want to be white since you play that sport? No, right? That's not how it works. So the fact that he would say, because I rap, does that mean I want to be black, is ignorant, right? And the fact that he can't see that it's mind blowing, right? Because it contradicts, what he said. Now, same for the brothers. The brothers is like, oh, these Mexicans are trying to steal our rap, or they're trying to be like black. They're trying to steal what's ours. Only black people could rap, and like I said, the ignorance in individuals, right? Anybody could do, music, rap. Now they are the creators. No one's saying that they're not the creators. No one's even trying to take credit or steal it from them. How do you even steal that? That's retarded, right? No, people pay homage and love the music, love what they have created. Throughout history, people have interacted and exchanged, customs and cultures. That is how society has always ran. I don't understand why individuals now, uh, you know, get their panties in a bunch, over some shit that's dumb, right? Because nobody's trying to steal nothing, right? And it's and I'll use it on them now too, where it's like, well, a lot of basketball players play, basketball, right? Does that mean that they want to be white? Because basketball was created by a white person for white people, by James uh, Naismith in Massachusetts, somewhere in like the 1890s or some shit like that, right? But it was a sport created for white people by a white person. You know what I mean? No black people were allowed to play the sport before. But then, they broke down those barrier walls, and, athletes, like Bill Russell, who, if you want, you guys could even look at his documentary where he talks about breaking that barrier wall and how difficult it was, right? And not only him, right, but, Jackie Robertson in baseball, right? It's not that they're trying to steal the culture or steal anything from these individuals, paying homage, want to play, there's nothing wrong with that, bro. You know what I mean? But nobody says anything there, right? Like, oh, does that mean they're trying to be white? Or if you play basketball, does that mean you're trying to be white? Like, nobody says that, right? Because it's stupid. So why they choose to throw that argument on Mexicans is beyond me. The only thing I could think of is that they have a problem with these individuals, right? But like I said, these individuals struggled and advocated and put up a fight to break down the barriers for them to be able to play these sports. And it seems like people forgot their fucking history, right? And now the very same mental and it's like if they're trying to go backwards in time, right? Like the very same mentals and the very same ignorance that try to keep people from enjoying people's customs, right? These individuals are now applying that when it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, come on now, bro. Like, you should know better. You know what I mean? Um, because then that makes you no different than those individuals that try to keep these people from playing those sports, right? It's the same shit, bro. That same mindset, that racism mindset, because not only um, racism doesn't only exist like for white people, like anybody could be racist, right? If you don't have a problem with individuals just because of their ethnicities, or trying to keep them from doing stuff just because of their ethnicities, because like I said, that is how humans have always interacted and how the world has always worked. These people traveling to different countries and exchanging cultures and stuff like that, bro. Nobody was having it, oh, they're trying to steal, or you know what I mean. So the fact that people are coming with these dumbass arguments is mind-blowing. um but overall, that's just my opinion. What do you guys think on the matter? Do you guys think that rap is only for black people, or what's your opinions on the take? I'm saying, shut up, we out.